Hello there, and welcome to Girl Boss and Bourbon, where I, your host Brent Schaub, review episodes of Girl Boss whilst drinking some bourbon. Let's get started. So today we're getting into the final last episode of Girl Boss, rounding the entire thing out. This episode is episode 13, The Launch, and contains spoilers along with all of the other previous episode reviews, mostly all spoilers, like 90% spoilers. But we find out something big in this episode. So if you've watched it, then this might not be a big surprise, but if you haven't watched it, then this might be. But in this episode, we find out that, in fact, Shane did cheat on Sophia. In episode 12, it kind of ends with, towards the end of the episode, we see through the glass in the studio behind some drums what looks like, Shane cheating on Sophia with someone else from the band. But you don't really know it. They both have their clothes on for the most part that you can see, and it led me to think that it was going to be a big gotcha of no, actually didn't. Everything's mistaken. But we find out this episode that he did. So I was off track. They got me on that one. But maybe it was so obvious. I don't know. Let me know if what you thought after watching episode 12. If you thought it was real, or if you thought there might be a chance that it wasn't. They portrayed Shane as such a good guy that I just didn't think they would do that with his character. But surprise, surprise. So let me know what you thought, if you saw it coming, if you didn't see it coming, let me know in the comments, and let me know in the comments if you have any other theories about Girl Boss, what would happen if there was another season with some of these characters. So episode 13 starts out, and the Nasty Gal team is preparing for this big launch coming up. And but meanwhile, Sophia is just coming off of realizing the betrayal of Shane and the cheating that he went through. So she's trying to keep it all together. On the outside, she's kind of overcompensating by being super nice to Annie and the rest of her staff that's helping her out with Nasty Gal. But deep down, she's haunted with the fact that her boyfriend's cheating on her, but has not told anyone, has not really processed through it with anyone. So she's quite literally haunted, and portrayed in the show is haunted by the song that she has connected to these deeper Felix. And this is the song that was playing in the midst through episode 12, when this is the last episode where everything's been falling, everything's fallen down, the launch is maybe not happening, and then also plays when Sophia finds out that Shane was cheating on her. So pretty creative little thing in there, but there's these moments where she hears the song. The song is, I don't know the actual name of the song, but the lyrics of the song are the I'll come crashing. And so she hears it, and every time it's like a reminder that there are things that she needs to deal with, but she does not want to deal with those things. So in the meantime, everyone's getting prepped for the launch. They're also gonna have a party the night of the day of the launch. Website's getting final touches on it and all that. Sophia decides to go visit Shane at his recording studio. And Shane is not aware that she knows of his cheating. But she walks in, they're recording. She turns on the mic, calls him out, calls out the girl that he was cheating on her with, makes a big scene, storms out of there. And Sophia starts to feel a little bit better, although things aren't fully resolved. Next, we find ourselves at the launch. They get the website going. It's early in the morning. That's when they're like launching it. And they launch it. They click the button that says go. For the first few minutes afterwards, they're checking. Nothing's happening. Getting kind of worried. They end up leaving the computer. Like 30 minutes later, they come back to the computer and like hit refresh, and they sold a ton of stuff. And all within that day, they sell out. They sell out of all of their product that they put together for this big website launch. So big success. They have the big party. It's a grand old time. Sophia gives a big, very short speech, and then immediately goes out to the pier, starts crying because there's a lot more going on than just this business right now. And so I believe it's that very night, she invites Shane over to her place to talk it out and to level things through. And this is where I first was like, oh, now it's going to come to light when it wasn't actually a thing. But that's just totally disregarded. So that was probably just a misread on my part. Shane comes over, they talk it out, and it shows them like talking it out for a long time. And there's a little glimmer that they're going to go back to the same old, and a little glimmer that there is going to be a relationship again. But it kind of ends with Shane saying he doesn't want to leave, but then Sophia just saying, "Yeah, I gotta leave." And so it's kind of presumed then, I don't have a great read on this stuff, but my thought is that there's nothing after that. If there is, it's going to be later, way down the road. But of course, we only have one season. So the next day, Sophia goes back to the warehouse where they had the party, the launch party and all that. And she sees the carnage from all of that, kind of good time that people were having at that party. And she hops online, and she sees, and this is the last scene of the season finale episode. She goes online and sees all of the comments rushing through of everyone saying, "Oh, I love my stuff," and it's great. Pretty much just kind of praising her for this site, and she kind of, you can see this warmth and smile come upon her face. And so I feel like it's kind of saying like, the way that Sophia's been rolling, wanting the approval of her mother, wanting something to, want the approval of her father, but not wanting to conform to anything, but always having Shane around. And now Shane's not around, and so she kind of finds her comfort in her work with her job. And that is where it's ended. So it's kind of, with this journey, it's kind of, we were taken from humble beginnings to launch of a new website, and they're doing pretty good. So yeah, could it all have been a movie and like shortened greatly? Yes, and should have, and would have been much more enjoyable. Instead, it was like a lot longer because it was a series. But if I had to pick a moral of the series, it's kind of do your own thing, do what you want, but that might fly in the face of others, so don't always do what you want, but most of the time, do what you want. Yeah, so maybe not such a cohesive, full-on, moral of the story. Maybe it's meant for more of a retelling of true events. If you have watched the show, if you're a fan of the show, then you'll know at the beginning of each episode they say that it's based on true facts, loosely, it's a loose retelling of true facts, and then it says real loose. So, not 100% accurate, but yeah, maybe they're going for more of just a narrative of here's the history of a company and kind of how it got started. So if you followed with me episode to episode till the end here, congratulations. One of the few, the proud. You get to join in with that group. And if you didn't, and you're just here for my own content and to just keep up to date with my opinions on the show and just the brief recaps, then lucky you that you didn't have to watch through all those things. Would I recommend this show to someone who hasn't watched it, to all of you that haven't watched it? No, I would not recommend it. Yeah, save your time. Watch something that's more entertaining. And yeah, that brings Girl Boss and Bourbon to a close. I won't catch you next time because this is the end. Thanks, friends.